And welcome back. In this video, we're going to be setting up Nginx with SSL and getting it serving HTTPS requests. If you go to Postman now and try to access your site or your API using HTTPS, you'll see a connection timeout. So that's good because we've not set it up yet, but we're going to do that in this video. The first thing to do is to go into your server. And there we are. And then we're going to look at the contents of bar www. And as you can see, we've got the HTML folder, and that contains our API. But we're going to make a directory inside var www, which I'm going to call SSL. And of course, I have to be admin for that. So we've created a directory, and now what we're going to do is create two files in it. One is going to contain the key, and the other one is going to contain the certificate. So sudo touch www ssl rest api course trial.com.pem. So that's just the domain .pem. And that's going to be the certificate, and similarly the same, but instead of pem is going to be key, is going to be the key. Okay. And then we're going to go ahead and do sudo var www ssl. We're going to modify the pem file, and in here we're going to paste the contents of our certificate. So I'm going to go over to Chrome, and I'm going to select everything, including the begin certificate and end certificate. So everything there, everything that's inside the gray box, we're going to select it all and copy it. And then we're going to go here. And if you're using Vim like me, what you have to do is press the I key for insert, the I key, and then you can paste in there. Okay. Do not naturally, as obvious as this sounds, attempt to paste this in manually. That would be not a good use of your time. Okay, so once you've got that, I'm going to press the escape key, and then :WQ for write and quit. And that's that. Then we're going to do the same, but with the key. Once again, going over to Chrome, instead of the certificate, now we're going to select the key. And we're going to make sure that we've got everything selected, including begin private key and end private key. We're going to select everything in the gray box. We're going to copy it. We're going to go over here. We're going to press the I key for insert. We're going to paste, and then we're going to press the escape key and :WQ for write and quit. We've got now our certificate and key in the server. We can go back to Chrome and just press OK down here. And now our certificate is there. It expires on 2032, which is a pretty long time. And we're done with this section here. Do notice that the SSL setting may take up to 24 hours to be active. Let's go back to the terminal. And now what we're going to do is serve the HTTPS traffic using Nginx. So what we're going to do is over to etc Nginx sites enabled itemsrest.conf, which is my configuration file. And here, as you remember, we've got our server, and that's listening on port 80. Port 80 is for HTTP traffic. We're going to listen for a different port, which is for HTTPS traffic. You may also have some extra lines down here. These are for errors. I don't have them in here because this is just an example, but you may have them, and that's fine. You can keep them. Okay. All we've got to do is, instead of listen 80, we're going to remove the 80, and we're going to insert there using the I key 443 default server. Okay, and all that's doing is that it's going to listen on port 443 by default. So the first thing that it's going to do when a request comes in is it's going to see if it's on port 443. And that's it. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to set a server name. And that's going to be REST API course trial.com. Notice that the number of spaces between the setting and the value doesn't matter as long as it's one or more. And similarly, the spaces at the front don't matter, but I like to keep them so that it's easier to read. We're going to set SSL to on. We're going to set SSL certificate to the key, the certificate file, that we've created. That's going to be /var/www/ssl/rest-api-course-trial.com.pem. And finally, SSL certificate key is going to be the key. And hopefully I'm not making any typos. I do get a lot of questions from students like yourself, which make small typos. Make sure to double check this. It's important, or else nothing will work. REST-API-course-trial.com, REST-API-course-trial.com. This all looks correct. And that's it. So now, if we save and quit this and restart Nginx, everything's working. However, we've got a server listening on 443 and nothing listening on 80, which means we've got HTTPS to work, but HTTP is not working now, which can sometimes be okay. Sometimes you just want everything to go onto HTTPS, and we do want that, but we don't want to give our HTTP users an error. So after this server, which notice how there's an opening brace there and a closing brace down there, which match, and similarly there's an opening brace here and a closing brace here. So after the entire server block, we're going to go down here and we're going to have another server block. And in this server block, we're going to listen on port 80. And similarly, the server name is going to be the same, REST-API-course-trial.com. But we're going to tell it that whenever a request comes onto port 80, which is an HTTP request, to send it over to the HTTPS equivalent. So we're going to say rewrite. And here is this thing here, which I'm going to explain what it is. Everything from the first forward slash after, naturally, the server name. My apologies, that wasn't clear. So everything after the server name, starting with a slash, is going to get rewritten into HTTPS ://rest-api-course-trial.com/$1. So what's happening here is request comes in, which is http://rest-api-course-trial.com/something, and that something is what we're requesting on an API. And what this rewrite is doing is it's saying everything that is after the slash, it doesn't include the REST-API-course-trial.com, so everything after the slash, we're going to select it. That's what the bracket means. Select the stuff after the slash, and that is then replaced by $1 here. So it's rewriting everything that's after the slash into HTTPS ://rest-api-course-trial.com/whatever we requested. And finally, permanent, which means that future requests are going to continue on server 443. Okay, and it's going to rewrite the browser URL as well. Okay, that's pretty much everything. Let's have a quick final check, make sure we've not missed anything. And we've got listen, server name, SSL on, certificate and key. Oh, we've got a duplicate server name here. We can delete that. It's not really a problem, but it's better if it's not there. And we also have a missing semicolon there. This is actually a problem that's quite important. And I think that's it. So hopefully we've not got any errors there. Let's press the escape key :WQ for save and quit. And we are ready to do a restart of Nginx. And that's it. However, before continuing, make sure to do sudo ufw allow HTTPS. And now, it's likely that this won't make any difference, but in some cases, I've seen that the UFW, which is the Ubuntu firewall, has been rejecting HTTPS requests, which just makes everything fail. So just do that just in case. And as you can see, I've already got it there. But if yours says rule added, then it was worth it. and do sudo ufw reload for good measure as well. That will just reload the firewall configuration. And then we can do sudo systemctl reload nginx, sudo systemctl restart nginx for good measure, even though this is not really necessary. And finally, we can go to Postman and make sure that you have the HTTPS URL selected there in your environment. And you can send the request and see that it works. Since this request works, we know that all of them do, because we've not really changed the API itself. We've only changed the sort of interface, the way it connects. So we don't have to test every endpoint. And that's it. You've got SSL. And now what that means is that the connection between your computer and Cloudflare is encrypted using your private key. So if you want to understand more about what SSL is, that's a bit outside the scope of this course, but I will include some resources in the next lecture to help you understand a bit more about what SSL is and how it works. It's quite an advanced thing. It's all about cryptography, but nevertheless, I find it quite interesting, and maybe you do too. But if you're not interested in the insights of how this process works and all the technicalities, then just know that now your connections to Cloudflare are secure. And since you're using Cloudflare's own SSL certificate, and we've selected the strict SSL connection, the connection between Cloudflare and your server is also encrypted and also secure. So yeah, you have now added security to your server. Hopefully that was not too complicated, quite straightforward. And if you have any problems, just go ahead and ask in the course Q&A. And otherwise, I'll see you in the next one.